guys, welcome to my newest video for today. Today's video is going to be the first installment of my weekly reviews for 2015. I know it's a bit of a random spot to be doing them because it's like the year's almost halfway over, but to be honest, I've gotten a bit tired of just doing what I've watched movies, trying to catch up, and I've just decided that I'm just going to stick it to a weekly format, and then from Sunday to Sunday, and just talk about the TV shows and the movies that I've watched in that week. I'm not going to worry about catching up on the other movies that I've watched, from my last What I Watched video. This is just going to be completely fresh, and yeah, it's just sort of revitalize this segment of my videos, because I do actually like doing reviews, and I want to keep doing them, but yeah, I've just decided that I'm going to go back to this old format of doing them weekly, so we'll see how this one goes. So for the first installment of Weekly Reviews 2015, I watched 2 TV shows. One was a show I actually watched all this past week, and the other one was a show I finished on Netflix. And the first show is one of my favourite new discoveries for this year. I have actually watched this season earlier, but I decided to rewatch them, and because I've only gotten up to season 2, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be talking about season 1, because I rewatched that obviously in this past week, and that is Horrible Histories season 1. I love this show so much. I can't believe it's just taken me so long to discover it, because I'd never even heard of the show, and then yeah, I randomly came across it and I started watching it, and I was like, where has this show been? And it's it's an historical sketch show basically, and I just love everything about it, at least everything about the first season that I just watched, because yeah, as I said, only seen 2 seasons, but yeah, it's just awesome, and so many, it's just the way it's done, it's just done in such a really clever way. My favourite skit is Stupid Deaths. I love Stupid Deaths so much. I love the Grim Reaper. I love the theme, the little tune, the whole stupid deaths, that one. I love that intro, and I think out of this season 2, I would say my favourite Stupid Deaths one would be the one where there's a backlog of processing people to go through to the afterlife, and he's because it's they're in the Middle Ages, and there's obviously so many people died in the Middle Ages, and he's got people who so I think, was it Crusades? I think one was from the Crusades, one was from person had drowned in the floods, and there's also the Black Death, and he's you know what, I've had enough, I quit. And then they're just kind of you're the Grim Reaper, you can't quit. And then he's and they're oh, what can you do? And it's oh, I thought I might become a headmaster. And it's that whole it's just done completely deadpan and all of that, and I just love yeah, I love the Grim Reaper in this one for Stupid Deaths. And then, so aside from that, my other favourite skit, recurring skit, is probably historical wife swap. I just, yeah, just the different time periods, and I think out of that one, my favourite one was probably Athens and Sparta, when they did the swap. And then because at the end where they're trying to argue which state was better, and then they're just obviously the Spartans were voting for Sparta, and they started to do the whole vote for Athens, but because it's women couldn't vote in Athens, he ended up losing that vote, because he was he kind of just looks at the wife, and he's she goes, I'm a woman, I can't vote. So it's yeah, just really ingenious the way that they do the whole history, and yeah, I don't know, just finds, yeah, I just think the whole concept's really fascinating. I know it's based on a book series, which obviously I haven't read, but I just love the show. And also other favourite moments in season 1, the story of Kronos being done on like a Jerry Springer style talk show, and that was yeah, that was just hilarious. Like when they had Mrs. Kronos there, and then they brought out, you know, Mr. Kronos, and the whole story about eating the children and just that. And then also another one was it was like the story of Helen of Troy, but it was done in like a comic book style, and that just had me cracking up because it was I'm not sure exactly what accent it was, but it kind of reminded me of Lauren Cooper from the Catherine Tate show. And when she's like in it though, and when they're going through the different stages of the Trojan Wars, and yeah, that's one of my favorites. I think favorite moments out of the entirety of season 1. And also I love the songs that they do, like the as I think probably the Henry VIII song was, you know, divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Yeah, that song was just, I just love that song. Also British things, when Queen Victoria, and that they're going through all the different items that she, you know, and saying, oh, it's like they think it's British, but then it's actually they're not from Britain, they're from other places. I really like that one. And but yeah, so overall Horrible Histories is just a fantastic show, and I'm really looking forward to I guess catching up on it, because as I said, I've seen the first 2 seasons, but I want to rewatch it, so like I'm rewatching from the start. And I have season 2, I just need to but I haven't I just need to obviously get the last remaining seasons, because I know they're up to season 6, and I think they're just doing different kinds of specials for season 6. But I just want to catch up on the show and watch everything. So but yeah, so that's Horrible History season 1, and as you can tell, I absolutely love it. And yeah, so watch Horrible Histories. They're probably I think the episodes are on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, you can do that. And the other TV show that I watched this week was or I finished watching it, was Chef's Table season 1, which is a Netflix original documentary series. And basically what it does is it takes it devotes an entire episode to one chef, like they're from all around the world, and they kind of just provide the backstory and how they got, basically how they built their restaurant to where it is at that point in the show. And I just found it really fascinating, just looking at the different examples, and because episode 1 was like an Italian chef, and I can't remember the name of the chef, but I found that one particularly fascinating, because it's so he tried to challenge traditional Italian cooking, and when he first started, no one wanted him there, because it's it's not what we grew up with, and but now it's I think he's the 3rd best chef in the world, or at least in 2014, because I guess when the show was filmed. But it's just, I just found it really fascinating. But the food, just when they go through the different recipes and that just makes me hungry. And especially Italian food, I love Italian food, because they had the recipes were 5, I think it was 5 pieces of Parmigiana or something, and then it was the crunchy part of the lasagna, just all these different recipes, and yeah, I was just I want to eat everything, but I'm just probably could never get into the said restaurant, because it's probably, well actually I think they said in the show it's really hard to get into, but it's probably also really expensive, but yeah, but that's just what I thought, for something a bit different. I thought I'd try and, you know, watch this. So it just got my eye, because I was in the mood for like some kind of documentary / reality style TV show, and this was in like the first row of recommendations for like documentaries. And yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just watch a few episodes here and there, because there's like only 6 episodes in the first season, and as far as I'm aware, I think they may be doing a second one. So but no, Chef's Table was actually, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was fascinating watching this series. So that's and yeah, as I said, that show's on Netflix. So so that they're the TV shows, and now I'll just get into the movies, because I've watched over the past week. I watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've watched 9 movies over the past week, so we'll just get straight into it. And the first movie that I watched was San Andreas from this past year, and I was actually surprised by how much I ended up enjoying it, because it's sort of, I mean, I wasn't expecting much going into it, because I was like, but I was curious to check it out, because I do like the Rock's movies, and I, you know, usually have a good time with them, and this one was no exception. I mean, yeah, it's not, obviously not the greatest story ever, like, because it's, the plot itself is very, I guess, generic, because, you know, like, there wasn't much originality in terms of, you know, the guy's estranged from his family, and then when disaster strikes, he's got to go in and try to rescue them, and all of that. But I did think the effects were really cool, like with the earthquakes, and I did kind of find that kind of aspect, I thought that was quite fascinating, like with the you know, just the way, like, with how it's like when it, at the start of the film, they're like, oh, we're getting these Fisher points, is that what they're called? They're like, there's popping up, and there's like, they're not meant to be there, because, you know, no one's ever detected like with the earthquake, I guess epicenters or something. I think that was the science behind it. I think that's, I can't quite remember. But yeah, so it's basically like, you know, they're starting to appear, and it's like becoming increasingly more volatile, and earthquakes were happening, you know, in places not meant to, not, they generally don't happen. I think that was the general gist of the like the story. And then I mean, obviously, you know, the earthquakes happen since like in California, but yeah, just, you know, like, but yeah, it's, I just thought it was yeah, I just had a good time with it, basically. I think at the end of it, it's losing my train of thought, but yeah, so overall I quite enjoyed it. You know, I thought, you know, for what the movie is, yeah, so I ended up giving San Andreas a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's not the greatest movie ever, but it's just one of those ones, if you want to leave your brain at the door and just chill out for a couple of hours, it's fine for those kind of movies. So that was San Andreas. And then I finally watched 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, it's because I finished the book, and I was like, I want to, because I wanted to read the book first before I read the movie, not read the movie, watched the movie, and I was just kind of like, because I think with the book, again, I just sort of found them both pretty average, to be honest. Like, they're not my, you know, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, it was just, you know, I guess they exist. That's basically, to sum up my feelings for the this particular series. I will say that you know, now that I've read and watched like the first like installment, I will say it has me curious to check out the rest of the trilogy. Well, like in terms of the books, I do, but I'll talk about that in my wrap up. But again, but it's the same for the movie. Like, if they make the other two movies, I will check them out, like, just to see, you know, I guess what happens. And but to be honest, I actually thought it was, at least a movie, that it was kind of tame. Like, because you think for a movie which is basic, like, with all this, you know, the sex and stuff that happens in the books, like, you know, I thought there would at least be more of it in the movie, and there wasn't. At least that's what I thought, because so yeah, I was actually kind of a bit disappointed in that regard, because, like, I knew, like, obviously based on what I'd heard, like, I knew nothing happened, like, for the first 40 minutes in terms of, you know, the actual getting into the BDSM, yeah, like, getting into that aspect of the story. But I was just kind of like, yeah, like, I wasn't, I guess basically what I'm saying, I wasn't really that interested in the characters or that, and like, the story itself was pretty generic, and that as I said, because I basically, you know, I just said it was average. And but I will say I did like Dakota Johnson's casting as Anna. I did think she was I did actually like her in the film, so I was yeah, like, she was good in it. I wasn't swayed either way on James Dorian, I think that's his name. I could take or leave him as, like, as his performance as Christian Grey, but yeah, it's just a, you know, the movie's what it is, and you know, it was alright for, like, you know, again, watching it for 2 hours, but so I just, in the end, I ended up giving it a 6.5 out of 10, because, as I said, didn't love it, didn't hate it, so, but I still want to see the rest of the trilogy, should the movies get made. So the next one that I watched, it was the last film that I watched on this particular day. I think that's what I got confused. I ended up watching Into the Storm, and which came out last year, and I was really surprised by how much I got, like, I enjoyed it, because I talked about it a bit in my July Blu-ray update, because I picked up the movie like in the past week, and I just had a really good time watching this film, like, because, again, it's another disaster type movie, but this one I thought was actually really well acted, especially since I didn't really recognize any of the cast that were in there, and because I think when I first heard about this film, I was like, oh, it's just going to be, you know, these very average disaster films, there's not going to be much to it. So basically I really wasn't expecting much, but then when I started watching it, I was like, actually this is pretty decent, and like, with the storms and the tornadoes and, like, yeah, the action, and I thought that aspect of it was really done really well. There's actually some really tense moments which surprised me, because usually I think a lot of times these films, you don't really get that sense of danger. Like, there's not that imminent threats. Like, yeah, there's these storms and tornadoes that are going to start appearing, but yeah, I just thought this one, there was actually, you got that sense that these people, like, can get killed. It's I got that, and I thought, overall, overall I thought it was very well done, and I gave Into the Storm a 7.5 out of 10. So there's that one. Then I watched The Matrix Reloaded, which because this is the first time, like, because I saw The Matrix, like, the first film for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's taken me this long just to see the Matrix films, and I love these films. Especially, I really enjoyed The Matrix Reloaded, which I was not expecting to, because I think generally the consensus consensus is The Matrix, the first film, is, you know, the best, and then it just, with the, I think people are divided on the two sequels, like Reloaded and Revolutions, but I for one really enjoyed Reloaded. Like just the fight scenes, like they were really intense. Like the choreography in this film was spectacular, and like even though and like, yeah, and the storyline, I was, you know, it got my interest, and, you know, what happened to the characters, and yeah, I thought it was a very good sequel, and yeah, it's just, yeah, it was just like, I just thought it was quite epic with how it was done, and I'm definitely interested in seeing how the series wraps up, because again, I know a lot of people were mixed on Revelations, but yeah, I loved Reloaded, and I ended up giving it a 8.5 out of 10. So that was The Matrix Reloaded, and then I watched Wild with Reese Witherspoon, and this, I wasn't too sure what to expect from this film, because I know it's like one of those, I guess, discovering yourself type movies, you know, where people just leave everything behind to go and find themselves. And I know this is based on a book, which I haven't read, but because it's based on a true story about a woman who like hits rock bottom, and she basically needs to go and like, yeah, rediscover who she is. And to do that, she's decided to hike the Pacific Crest Trail. I think that was the name of it. It's like from, I think memory serves, it's from the like Mexico to Canada. I think that was the trail. But yeah, it's just basically like, it was like about her, and she's trekking through this part like on her own. She's like, yeah, basically just like sort through her issues to see, you know, what's going to happen to her, and I thought it was done really well, like, because and I definitely liked Reese Witherspoon's performance in this, because for most of the part it was just her, like and she I thought she really sold it well, like, because basically because a lot of the time there was very minimal dialogue. It was just her in the nature, and like, I guess not so much, well, I mean, yeah, there was a struggle because like with the hiking and that, but I think she really displayed, you know, a sense of like she was vulnerable. I can't speak today. Vulnerable. There we go. And you got that sense of desperation, and, you know, she's like even when people were telling her, oh, you should quit, it's not worth it to go through all this trouble, and she's like, no, I'm gonna keep doing it, I'm not gonna just give up. And yeah, and I quite liked that, how she brought about that determination, and even though, like, even when she was struggling, and like, she just gave a really good performance, and I could see why she got nominated for an Oscar for this role. She was quite good, and yeah, because I think that's what I like about these type of movies, though, because it's like very minimal, like there's only like a few, like yeah, there's like very minimal like cast, and it's because like really most of the action was happening in the flashbacks, so like that's where you got the story and how she got to where, like, the point where she was at in the actual present of the film. And so yeah, I thought Wild was really good, and I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10. And then I watched Journey to the Center of the Earth, the 2008 remake, I guess you'd call it, because I know there was a film version that came out in like the 60s or like 50s. I haven't seen that version, but this is the version with so Brendan Fraser, is that his name? and it also has a pre-Hunger Games Josh Hutcherson in it, so I was kind of, because this is, I think, the first time I've seen him in anything other than the Hunger Games, so I was just kind of like, I actually forgot he was in this film, actually, to be honest, when I started to watch it, and I was watching, I was like, I'm sure that's Josh Hutcherson, and then I looked it up, and it was, so, but yeah, this film actually, surprised me a bit, because I was like not expecting much going into the film, and I was, it's very this is another very leave your brains at the door, because it's very minimal plot, and it kind of gets a bit cheesy at times, but I found it entertaining, so and yeah, I just had a good time with it, because basically it dealt with, I mean, I'm not sure how this differs from the original, but basically Brendan Fraser's, the character, I can't think of his name, his brother went missing, like, when he was exploring these different points and volcanic activity, and then he's spending time, like, at this point he's spending time with his nephew, who's like, they're about to like move to Canada, and he's like, before they move, starting to spend time with him, because it's been a while since they've spent time together, and then basically because at this, like, the character's like, he's facing the prospect of losing his job, and like the lab where he's running like this research, and because he's trying to keep up with his brother's research to prove that, you know, he was right and not like crazy like the rest of the community thought he was, like scientific community. And then it basically goes from there. Like, they go on this trip, and like to Iceland, and then they meet the daughter of one of these other scientists, I think, who used to work with the brother, I think. I know I'm not explaining this well, but that's the general basis of the film. And then because it just, once they meet the girl, it's just like who decides to take them on this, I guess, quest, or not quest, but journey to see like where these points of activity were, and how, like, and that. But so, you know, for a very that's the basicness of the film, I guess I can say. But yeah, overall, as I said, not the greatest film ever, but it was entertaining, and I ended up giving it a 7 out of 10. And then I watched Hot Tub Time Machine. This is the one from 2010. I had never seen this film before. Actually, I should say none of these films I'd actually previously seen, so these were all first-time viewings. So, so I decided to watch Hot Tub Time Machine, because I know a sequel came out earlier this year, which I don't think did that well, but again, I wasn't expecting much going into this, because I thought it'd be a, you know, generic comedy, and but like with time travel thrown into it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so stupid. And I was actually pleasantly surprised, I should say. It still wasn't the greatest film ever, but it had its moments, and, you know, I got a couple of laughs out of it, because it's basically these group of guys who used to be really close, like friends. They end up having they've sort of drifted apart over the years. Oh, actually, I should say it's 3 guys and the son of or he's the nephew, I think. Yeah, he's the nephew of one of the characters, and he's basically, they decide to come together after one of their friends goes through like this go through a difficult, like, I guess, rough patch, and they basically go out to this cabin, and there's a hot tub, and some stuff happens, and basically they end up finding themselves in 1986. Like, and I actually did like how they explained, you know, why they were still there in, like, because they were actually themselves, like, because you saw in the mirror and their younger versions of them were reflected back at them, but they were still them. Like, when they looked at each other, they could see their, like, future selves, but to everyone else, they were, like, how they were in 1986. So I did think that aspect was pretty cool. And but yeah, it's basically, yeah, you know, them trying to get back to the present, and because there was an issue with the hot tub, like some component went missing and they have to track that down, and they're kind of like, oh, we can't change the, you know, the future. We've got to do everything exactly as it happened on this particular day, and yeah, and all sorts of hijinks ensue. And but yeah, it's actually it's a lot better than what I was expecting, and as I said, and I just had a fun time with it. So I ended up giving Hot Tub Time Machine what did I give it? I think I gave it a 7. No, actually, I think I did give this a 6.5 out of 10. Like, yeah, it was, like, it was okay, but it, yeah, not, you know, the greatest film ever, so, but that was that one. And then I watched the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, because again, a sequel came out this year, and I just thought this was a really charming film, and it's a British film, and it's about this group of, like, I guess they're retirees, they're like at a point in their lives when they don't know what they're going to do, like with the time they've got left, and for whatever reason they all end up in this hotel in India, and it's like not what they expected, because like the I think it's in the trailer, like, because there's a scene where Penelope Wilton, I can't think of her surname, she played Harriet Jones in Doctor Who, where she's going, oh, this isn't, I want to stay at this hotel, and she's like pointing at the pamphlet, and the guy's just basically going, yeah, this is that hotel. And so that it's basically like this group, and then trying to, yeah, just, I guess, accept where they are at life, and it's about their stories and their journeys and how it all intertwines, and you know, how they grow as, like, characters, especially like Maggie Smith's character. I thought her, like, she was phenomenal in this film. Like, well, actually the whole cast was, like, between her and Judi Dench, and I can't pronounce, Bill Nighy, I think that's how you say his name. I've never been known how you pronounce it. But yeah, it's just basically, like, you see them progress, like, from, like, because, like, you know, Maggie Smith's character, like, she's basically a racist. Like, she doesn't like, I guess, anything that's not British and traditional, and so, like, being in India for her character is like the last place on earth she wants to be. But as time goes on, she sort of, like, mellows a bit, and she gradually becomes a bit more accepting of you know, the locals, and like how, yeah, and she's just how she progresses to that, like, from where she was at the start of the film and to where she ended up. And like also with, you know, even with Judi Dench's character, like, because at the start of the film she's lost her husband, and she's like, they've been married for 40 years, and basically it's her trying to, I guess, accept, you know, she's, because, like, I think her husband did everything for her, and so she was really lost, and she, like, everything that had happened, and she's just trying to learn to cope on her own. And yeah, it was just really well done, and, like, the film in general. And I ended up giving the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, I think it was an 8 out of 10 I ended up giving it. So that one. And then the last film that I ended up watching for this week was probably one of my again, another favourite film that I've watched, and that was Kung Fu Panda, the first one from 2008. I can't believe it's taken me so long to watch Kung Fu Panda. It was everything I wanted it to be, because like with the third one coming out next year, I'd seen the trailer for it, and I was just kind of like, actually this looks pretty like interesting, and then I was like, I should probably watch the other films. And then, yeah, I decided to sit down and watch the first one, and I just loved it. It was, you know, like, I liked the whole, like, oh, there's no, you know, the no secret ingredient, and, you know, I thought that message was really, actually quite well. There was a lot of heart to this film, and there's, you know, just, you know, the whole kung fu and, yeah, the dragon warrior, and oh, everything about this film was just awesome. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching the remaining films of it, because yeah, I just had such a great time with this movie. And yeah, and the battle between the panda, Po, was that the character's name? Po and the tiger, not the other, like the master tiger, but the enemy tiger. I cannot think of the character's name, but yeah, that whole end battle was just epic. And you know, when they're doing like the pressure points, and he's like, "You wouldn't, you're bluffing," and then yeah, I just love this film, and I ended up giving Kung Fu Panda an 8.5 out of 10. So yeah, it was just awesome. So that is everything that I've watched in this past week. So I'm hopefully going to be able to stick to this format, and I won't get tired of it, because I seem to go through these different changes in how I do my reviews, because as I said, I really love doing reviews, but it's just when I don't keep on top of what I'm reviewing and I've got a backlog, I just get a bit, I guess, bored, and I want to revamp it. And yeah, so I thought I'm going to go back to the weekly review format. So and the goal at this point is to do it every Sunday. So I'll be doing Sunday to Saturday, like I'll cover everything that I've watched, you know, obviously TV and movie wise, and then on Sunday I'll film it, and then we'll go from there. So but yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and until my next video, I will see you guys next time. Bye!